Today we will discuss on chromosomal mutations. Gene mutations involve changes in single genes or individual genes, whereas chromosome mutations occur in chromosome segments which may contain number of genes. And these chromosomal mutations are of two types, structural and numerical. Structural changes involve the loss of a particular segment of a chromosome or addition or duplication of a particular chromosome segment, or the change in position of one segment of a chromosome to another position. So, all these bring about structural changes in the chromosome, but there will be no change in the number. The second one is numerical change. Every species will have a fixed chromosome number either in the somatic cells or the gametic cells. But in numerical aberrations, there will be either loss of chromosomes, whole chromosomes, or there will be gain of whole chromosomes. So, they lead to the numerical changes in chromosomes. So, thereby the chromosomal mutations are either structural or numerical. Now, we will see the various terms which are used for denoting chromosome numbers in various cells of organisms. We usually use either the term haploid number or diploid number. Haploid number refers to the number of chromosomes which are present in the gametes of an organism, either a plant cell or an animal cell, or the gametophytic cells of plants or certain spores of plants. So, this number is haploid number and is denoted as N. Say for example, in human sperms, the number of chromosomes is 23. The number of chromosomes in the human ova is also 23. So, that is the haploid number in humans. What is diploid number? In sexually reproducing organisms, the gamete will fuse together to form the zygote, and the chromosome number which is present in the zygotic cells or the somatic cells of organisms or the sporophytic cells of plants, that is referred to as diploid number. And in the case of humans, it is 46 because our somatic cells will be having 46 chromosomes. The haploid number will be half the diploid number in sexually reproducing organisms because the somatic cells or the zygotic cells are formed by the fusion of the sex cells or the gametic cells. Now, we go to another term which is called as the monoploid number. It is denoted as X, and this refers to the number of chromosomes in the basic chromosome set. So, in humans it is 23 because we have in one basic chromosome set we have 23 types of chromosomes, that is 22 autosomes, and there will be a sex chromosome which can either be X or Y. So, this is the monoploid number in humans, that is 23. In humans the haploid number is also 23. So, what is the difference between the monoploid number and the haploid number? So, before that we go to two types of organisms, that is monoploids and polyploids. Monoploids are organisms with a single basic set of chromosome in their somatic cells. So, those organisms who in their somatic cells have only a single basic set of chromosomes are called as monoploids, and that is a very rare case that is to be expected in nature. But there are many organisms who will be having more than one basic set in their somatic cells. So, the sets will be in multiple numbers. So, that is what is called as polyploidy. So, if monoploidy is X, polyploidy will be N into X. That means N means the number of times, the multiples of X. Okay. So, we come back to the monoploid condition in humans. So, in humans 23 is the monoploid number, but the haploid number is also 23. So, what is the difference between monoploidy and haploidy? So, we come to humans first, where X or monoploid number is 23 because the single set consists of 23 types of chromosomes. In their gametes also there is only one set. So, the number is 23. And in a diploid human which is formed by the fertilization of two gametes, the diploid number will be 2n is equal to 46. But we take the case of two varieties of wheat, that is Triticum vulgare and Triticum compactum. These two are polyploid plants. That is, their basic chromosome number is 7, that is X is equal to 7. But in their gametes, they will be having 3 copies of the chromosome set. So, their N number will be 21. That means each chromosome will be there in 3 copies. There are only 7 types of chromosomes, the X number is 7, but in their gametes, each chromosome will be there in 3 copies or 3 homologs will be there. So that is why their n number is 21. And when these gametes fuse to form a diploid organism, what will be the chromosome number? It will be 42. So the 2n number is 42. So that is how the monoploidy and haploidy differ. We go to 3 more varieties of wheat, that is Triticum dicoccum, Triticum polonium and Triticum durum. These are also diploid, where the X number is 7, that is the basic monoploid number. Here it is 7 itself, whereas in their gametes there will be 2 copies of the basic chromosome set. That means 2 into 7 is equal to 14. So that is the basic number of chromosomes in their gametes. There will be 2 copies of the basic set, and when they fuse to form the diploid organism, they will be having 28 chromosomes in the somatic cells. So their 2n number is equal to 28. So this shows us the difference between monoploid number X and haploid number 14. In many organisms, the monoploid number and the haploid number are the same, but there are certain organisms like what we saw here. There the monoploid number and the haploid number is different. So monoploid number is the basic number of chromosomes in their chromosome set, whereas haploid refers to the number of chromosomes which will be there in their gametes, in the gametic cells. Then ploidy changes. Changes in the number of chromosomes is collectively called as ploidy changes. It can be of 2 types, euploidy and aneuploidy. So we go to euploidy first. This is a condition in which in the somatic cell of an organism, the chromosome number will be an exact multiple of its monoploid number, or it will be an exact multiple of its basic chromosome number, and each chromosome will be represented only once in each set. So such a condition is called as euploidy. So if in the somatic cell of an organism there is only one basic chromosome set, then that condition is called as monoploidy. If in the somatic cell of a particular organism there will be 2 times the basic chromosome number, it is called as diploidy. Then if the chromosome number of the somatic cell of an organism is more than 2 times the basic chromosome number, then it is called as polyploidy. There is one more condition which is called as haploidy. If the somatic cell of an organism is containing the gametic number of chromosomes, then that condition, that means if the somatic cell of an organism contains chromosomes which is equal to the haploid number in that particular species, then that condition is called as haploidy. Then this polyploidy, it is divided into autopolyploidy and allopolyploidy, to which conditions we will go later. So here in euploidy, the chromosome number change occurs in such a way that there will be multiplication of the basic chromosome set. That means you cannot see deficiency of one chromosome or addition of one chromosome. Either the entire chromosome set will be lost or an entire chromosome set will be gained. In aneuploidy, you cannot expect a change in number of the entire chromosome set. But you can see that either individual chromosomes will be lost or homologous pairs of chromosomes will be lost. The entire chromosome set will not be lost or gained. So such a condition is called as aneuploidy, which is usually found in diploid organisms, where you can see that there are 2 types. One is called hypoploidy, the other is hyperploidy. In hypoploidy, from the diploid cell of the organism, from the diploid chromosome number, there will be loss of either 1 or 2 chromosomes. If one chromosome is lost, then it is called as monosomy, which can be indicated as 2n minus 1. If 2 chromosomes are lost, then it is called as nullisomy, which is denoted as 2n minus 2. So these are examples of hypoploidy, where there is loss of chromosomes, loss of either individual chromosomes or one pair of chromosomes will be lost. But the entire chromosome set will not be lost or gained. There will be loss or gain of either individual chromosomes or pairs of chromosomes. Then similar condition is hyperploidy, where there will be a gain of chromosome, either a single chromosome or a pair of chromosomes, then that condition is called as hyperploidy. If one chromosome is gained, then it is called trisomy. If 2 are gained, it is called tetrasomy. So here this is the diploid number, which is 2n. This is a normal diploid cell of an organism where we can see 3 homologous pairs of chromosomes. Now here, in this condition, we can see that from one of the homologous pairs, one chromosome is lost, one homologue is lost, only the other homologue remains. That condition can be called as 2n minus 1 or monosomy. So from a whole diploid set, one chromosome is lost. Now we go to the next condition, where we can see that from these 2 homologous pairs, one chromosome each will be lost. So from this pair, one is lost, from this pair, one homologue is lost. That condition is called as double monosomy, which can be denoted as 2n minus 1 minus 1. Now we go to the third one. That is, here an entire homologous pair will be lost. So suppose this is chromosome 1, this is chromosome 2 and this is chromosome 3 and this is the whole chromosome set. From this set, a pair of homologous chromosomes itself is lost. Then that condition is called as 2n minus 2 or nullisomy. Now, so these are all examples of hypoploidy. Whereas when we go to hyperploidy, this is the normal diploid cell with 3 pairs of homologous chromosomes, but here you can see that into one of the homologous pairs, one chromosome is added. That condition is called as trisomy. It is denoted as 2n plus 1. Then there is a similar condition called double trisomy, where into 2 homologous pairs, one chromosome each is added. So this is called double trisomy, which is denoted as 2n plus 1 plus 1. Now we go to tetrasomy, where into one of the homologous pairs, 2 chromosomes are added. So this pair, it will be having 4 chromosomes. So this particular chromosome is having 4 homologues. That condition is called tetrasomy. It is denoted as 2n plus 2. Then pentasomy will be 2n plus 3, where 3 chromosomes are added to a homologous pair. So these are all examples of hyperploidy, and altogether these conditions, when they prevail, that is called as aneuploidy. Why does aneuploidy occur? It is because of the non-disjunction of chromosomes during meiosis. So meiosis is a division which involves 2 phases. There will be a first meiotic division and a second meiotic division, and the second meiotic division is similar to mitotic division. So we just go to a meiotic division, where when the division starts, we will just concentrate on one homologous pair of chromosomes. So what will happen to a particular homologous pair when meiosis occurs? So during meiosis, in the first stage, the parent cell will divide into 2 daughter cells, and just prior to this division, the homologous pairs will come and align together. So when the first meiotic division occurs, there will be formation of 2 daughter cells, and one homologue from each pair will go to each daughter cell. So that is what happens during a normal meiotic division in the first phase. So each member of the homologous pair will go to each daughter cell. Now we go to a second condition. So this is the second division in meiosis, which is like mitosis, where each daughter cell which we got from the first meiotic division will divide into 2 daughter cells during second meiotic division. And when they divide into 2 daughter cells, the 2 chromatids of this particular chromosome will separate and come to each daughter cell. So here this chromatid will be going to this cell, and this chromatid will be going to the other daughter cell. So finally we will be getting 4 daughter cells, and the chromosome number will be reduced to half. So that is what happens during meiosis. So these all contribute into gametes. Meiosis usually occurs for gamete formation. So during gametogenesis, these are the gametes that result. That is, so we will go to this particular stage where it began in a diploid number. where the chromosome number is 2, but when it forms gametes, the chromosome number in each cell has become 1. So that is why it is called as reduction division. So in the first step, or in the first disjunction, one homologue of each pair is getting separated. In the second disjunction, each chromatid of the chromosome will be separated. So thereby the parent cell will be starting with 2 chromosomes and the daughter cell or the gamete will be ending with 1 chromosome. So this is what happens during normal meiosis. Now we will go to certain abnormal conditions where abnormal disjunction occurs. Disjunction means a separation of chromosomes. So here we go to a non-disjunction, where during the first division, instead of each homologue going into each daughter cell, there has occurred an abnormality in which both these chromosomes go to one daughter cell and the other daughter cell will be devoid of this particular chromosome. So it may be having all the other chromosomes in the set, but this particular chromosome will be absent because both the homologues have gone to the daughter cell, which is shown here. Now we will see what happens during the next division. In the next division, chromatids will be separating, the spindle fibers will be separating the chromatids. So in the next division, when this divides into 2, this chromatid will come to this cell and the other chromatid will go to this cell. In this chromosome also, the chromatid will go to this cell and his sister chromatid will go to the other cells. So what happens when gametes form? Instead of when gametes form, they will be having an extra chromosome. They will be having a hyperploidic condition. Okay. Whereas the gametes formed from this cell will be lacking this particular chromosome. So you are having 4 abnormal gametes. 2 are showing hyperploidy, that is a particular chromosome is in extra number, and these 2 gametes will be showing hypoploidy, where this particular chromosome is deficient. Now imagine a condition where fertilization occurs, and this is a normal haploid gamete. This is a normal haploid gamete. If this fertilizes this particular gamete, it will result in a zygote who will be having an extra chromosome. So that condition is called as trisomy. Suppose this gamete, it is fusing with this one. It will result in a zygote which will be lacking this particular chromosome. It will be having only one homologue of this chromosome which has been contributed by this parent, but the other homologue is missing. So this condition is called as monosomy. So here we could see how trisomy and monosomy arise from non-disjunction of chromosomes during the first meiotic division. Now we will go to the other condition where the first division was normal. The 2 homologues separated. In the second division, this underwent normal disjunction, whereas we go to this particular cell. Here the disjunction was abnormal. Both the chromatids went to this particular daughter cell, whereas the other daughter cell didn't get any chromatid of this particular chromosome. So the gametes formed will be of 3 types. 2 will be normal gametes. This particular gamete will be having an extra chromosome. This particular gamete will be lacking that chromosome. Now when they undergo fertilization, so fertilization by a normal gamete is shown here. You will get a normal organism. Here also you will get a normal disomic organism, whereas here you can see one chromosome is extra. So the zygote will be showing trisomy for this particular chromosome. Now when it comes to this case, this organism will be showing monosomy because only this chromosome has been only one chromosome has been contributed to its cell through this gamete, whereas the other gamete didn't contribute any chromosome. That means any chromatid of this particular chromosome, whereas the other chromosomes will be there. If you take it to the case of humans, the starting cell will be having 46 chromosomes. When gametes form, this gamete, instead of having 23 chromosomes, it is having 24. This is also having 24. This is having 22 because one is lost. This is also having 22. So when zygote formation occurs, what happens? These two gametes will join to form a diploid zygote, and this zygote will be having, instead of 46 chromosomes, it will be having 47. Here also 47. Here it will be 45. Here it will be 45. Now we come to this case. This is normal. This gamete, so this starts from a cell which is having 46 chromosomes. When it divides into two daughter cells, this daughter cell will be having 23 and this daughter cell will also be having 23. When this undergoes disjunction in the second stage, this will be having 23, this will be having 23, but this gamete will be having 24 and this gamete will be having 22 chromosomes. Now when they enter into fertilization, the zygote formed from this fusion will result in 46 chromosomes. The zygote formed from this fusion will also result in 46 chromosomes, whereas the zygote formed from this fusion will result in 47 chromosomes and the zygote formed from this fusion will result in 45 chromosomes. So that is how non-disjunction of chromosomes or chromatids during meiotic division result in aneuploidic conditions. Now we will go to the examples of aneuploidy in organisms. So we first go to animals, where the first condition was found in Drosophila by Bridges, where he could find a male which is XO and a female which is XXY. So why it is so? So for that we will just go to the sex determining ratio, which is determined by the number of X chromosomes and the number of haploid set of autosomes. So sex determination in Drosophila follows the genic balance theory, which was proposed by Bridges, where the sex ratio or sex index is calculated by a formula S is equal to X by A, where X is the number of X chromosomes and A is the number of haploid set of autosomes. So if the organism is diploid, A will be 2. If the organism is triploid, A will be 3. If the organism is tetraploid, A will be 4. So we will go to two diploid organisms. Okay. Before that, if the sex ratio is 0.5, the sex will be male, and if the sex ratio is 1, the sex will be female, and if it is in between, it will be an intersex. So we go to a diploid male who is XO. That means it has only one X chromosome. It doesn't have a Y chromosome. It is having only one X chromosome. So what will be its sex ratio? Sex ratio S is equal to X by A. So here X is 1, A is 2 because the organism is diploid. If the organism is diploid, A will be 2. So the sex ratio will be S is equal to X by A, that is equal to 1 by 2, that is equal to 0.5, and the organism will be male. And this is a condition, this is an example for monosomy because here one X chromosome is lacking. And this monosomic organism turns out into a male. Whereas you can see a trisomic organism where there is an extra X chromosome, that is why it is XXY, and we calculate its sex ratio. Sex ratio is X by A. X is equal to 2 because there are 2 X chromosomes, and A is equal to 2 because the organism is diploid. So in an XXY diploid female, the sex ratio will be 2 by 2 is equal to 1. That is why it is female. But it is showing trisomy. That is, there is an extra X chromosome. So this is an example of hyperploidy and this is an example of hypoploidy. Here one chromosome is lost from the set. Here one chromosome is gained to the set. Now we go to aneuploidy in plants. These are the different capsules, seed capsules seen in a plant called as datura. You can see that the seed capsules are morphologically different. Wild type capsule is this. You can see rolled, glossy, buckling, elongate, echinus, cocklebur, microcarpic, reduced, poinsettia, spinach, glove and ilex types of capsules can be seen in datura. And this has arisen out of aneuploidy, where the wild type is diploid having a chromosome number 2n. In rolled type, there will be trisomy, that is, there is an extra chromosome. The C1 chromosome is found in an extra number. You can see 2n plus C2, 2n plus C3, 2n plus C8. So all these are examples of aneuploidy which has given rise to different types of phenotypes with regard to the capsule, with regard to the seed capsule. So that is how aneuploidy can be seen in plants. And such phenotypic variations have also been obtained in plants such as tobacco, oats, bread, wheat, etc. apart from this datura. Now, how this can be extrapolated in the case of humans? In humans, if there is an extra chromosome 21, if there is trisomy 21, that results in a syndrome which is called as Down syndrome or Mongolian idiocy. So here the total number of chromosomes will be 47 instead of 46 because there is an extra chromosome 21, because there are 22 pairs of autosomes and 1 pair of sex chromosomes, and out of these 22 pairs of autosomes, the 21st pair will be having an additional chromosome. So instead of the total chromosome number 46, this person will be having 47. So this condition is called as Down syndrome. Similarly, if chromosome 18 is having an extra homologue, then it is called Edwards syndrome. So it is trisomy of chromosome 18. If there is trisomy of chromosome 13, it will result in a syndrome called as Patau syndrome. So these are all examples of aneuploidy that occurs in autosomes, because this is chromosome 21, this is chromosome 18, chromosome 13, all are autosomes. Now we will go to the aneuploidy in sex chromosomes. If an individual is having normal number of autosomes, but if the chromosome, the sex chromosomes are like XXY, that means they will be having an extra X chromosome. What will be the condition? Since that person is having Y chromosome, he will definitely be a male, but he is having an extra X chromosome. So he will be a male, but he is showing trisomy in his X chromosome. That condition is called as Klinefelter syndrome, which is an abnormality. The person will, even though he is male, he will be sterile. Here, this is an example of monosomy, where in a female, an X chromosome is lost. From the homologous pair of sex chromosomes, one X is lost. This condition is called as monosomy, and this results in a syndrome called Turner syndrome. So she will be female, but she is abnormal. So that condition is called as Turner syndrome, and here the chromosome number will be 47 in Klinefelter syndrome and the chromosome number will be 45 in the case of Turner syndrome. And all these conditions, they result from this abnormal disjunction. That is, this is a condition which results in Turner syndrome, where a normal gamete will fertilize a gamete that will lack an X chromosome. So that results in monosomy. Okay, this is trisomy. If this is the 21st chromosome that is having an extra copy, suppose this is a 21st chromosome and this abnormal gamete has been fused by this normal gamete, that will result in trisomy or Klinefelter syndrome. So whatever be the trisomy condition, in whichever chromosome does the trisomy exist, it occurs by non-disjunction of chromosomes during meiotic division. It can happen to chromosome 21 or 18 or 13 or to the sex chromosomes, and if it happens in these particular chromosomes, they result in conditions like Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome, Patau syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome and Turner syndrome. So the chromosome pair that is shown here can be 21 or 13 or 18, or it can be the sex chromosomal pair, either XY or XX. So this is XX. Okay. So when aneuploidy occurs in humans, the syndrome's result is trisomy 13 or Patau syndrome, trisomy 18 or Edwards syndrome, trisomy 21 or Down syndrome, then monosomy of X chromosome, Turner syndrome, trisomy of X chromosome, Klinefelter syndrome. There is one more which is called as XYY syndrome, where there is an extra Y chromosome. This is also called as Jacob syndrome or XYY syndrome, here there are no lethal phenotypic effects or abnormal phenotypic effects, but the person will be, affected individual will be exceptionally tall. We will go to the different types of euploidy. So, euploidy, as it was mentioned earlier, it is the change in chromosome number that results in a multiplication of the entire chromosome set. So, there are different types of euploidy. They can be monoploidy, haploidy, diploidy and polyploidy. So, in monoploidy, in the somatic cell of an organism, the number of chromosomes will be equal to the total number in a basic chromosome set. So, the number is X. Such organisms are said to be monoploids, and that is a very rare condition in animals, but it can be seen in plants. The second is called as haploidy. In haploidy, the somatic cell of an organism will be having the gametic number of chromosomes. So, what is the number of chromosomes in the gametes of that particular species? The same number will be seen in the somatic cells. That condition is called as haploidy. Now, diploidy is if the somatic cells contain twice the haploid number, then that condition is called as diploidy. It is found in sexually reproducing organisms where fusion, gametic fusion results in zygote formation. And last one is called as polyploidy. Polyploidy, in the somatic cells of an organism, the chromosome number will be many times that of the basic chromosome set. That means it will be more than 2 times the number of basic chromosome sets. So, that can start from 3x, 4x, 5x like that. So, it can go on. So, such condition is called as polyploidy, and polyploidy is divided into autopolyploidy and allopolyploidy. So, we will go to one by one. So, first is monoploidy, which is rare in animals, because in most of the monoploid conditions the character will be lethal. Most of the monoploid conditions are lethal, which lead to death, and therefore they remain non-detectable. That is why monoploidy is considered to be rare in animals. Even if monoploids arise, that is a lethal condition. Whereas it is seen in some plants like barley, corn, nicotiana, etc. Then we move on to haploidy. Haploidy is a condition where the somatic cells contain the gametic number of chromosomes. It can be divided into euhaploidy and aneuploidy. In euhaploidy, the chromosome number is exactly the same as the gametic number, whereas in aneuploidy, there can be a loss of a chromosome or a gain of a chromosome. So, the number will be either excess or lesser than the actual gametic number. Now, haploidy is seen in certain viruses, bacteria, fungi, and it is very commonly seen in male honeybee, because the male honeybees arise from parthenogenesis. That is, the queens of honeybee colony are diploid. Through meiosis, they will lay haploid eggs. Of these eggs, some remain unfertilized, and the unfertilized eggs will parthenogenetically develop into males, and so the males will be haploid, just like the chromosome number of that ovum. So, that is an example of male haploidy in animals. Then there are some rotifers which are also parthenogenetic, they also show haploidy. And coming to the haploid plants, haploidy is also seen in plants, but these plants will be smaller, they will be less vigorous, they will be inviable and sterile. But haploidy in plants is used for raising diploids or polyploids by the process called as chromosome doubling. So, by using haploid plants we can develop diploids or polyploids. So, these are the different types of haploidy. Then we come to polyploidy. Polyploidy is the presence of multiple numbers of chromosome sets in the somatic cells of organisms. So, it can be 3x, which is called as triploid condition, 4x is tetraploid, 5x is pentaploid, 6x is hexaploid, like that. And polyploidy can be divided into primary and secondary. In primary polyploidy, the number will be, the chromosome set, the number of chromosome sets will be even, like 4x, 6x, 8x, etc. In secondary polyploidy, the number of chromosome sets will be odd number, that is 3x, 5x, 7x. Usually, primary polyploidy arise out of chromosome doubling, because the chromosomes undergo, the DNA in the chromosomes undergo replication and they double. This has to be followed by cell division, but in certain situations only the chromosomes double but there won't be associated cell division. So what happens? The single cell itself will be having many copies of that chromosome. That is what is called as chromosome doubling, and usually primary polyploidy arises from chromosome doubling. Whereas secondary polyploidy arises by non-disjunction of chromosomes during cell divisions. So that is how secondary polyploidy arises. And this polyploid condition is common in plants. About 40 to 45 of angiosperm species are polyploid, and about 2/3 of all the grass species are also polyploid. But when we take it to animals, we can see that it is lethal to most of the animals, but it is seen in some hermaphrodites like earthworm, planaria, and some parthenogenetic forms like beetles, moths, salamanders, fishes, etc. Now we have a classification of polyploidy into autopolyploidy and allopolyploidy. Autopolyploidy is the condition in which the multiple genomes are identical and they are derived from the same species. In allopolyploidy, the multiple genomes are distinctly different and they are derived from different species. So here you can see this is a polyploid cell where this particular chromosome, it is having 3 more copies. That means it is a tetraploid condition, but they are all same. And here this chromosome, it is also in 4 copies. So here also you can see tetraploid condition. So all the basic chromosome set is repeated 4 times. That is why it is called as tetraploidy, and all the chromosomes are similar. This arises by chromosome doubling or endoreduplication. That means the doubling of chromosomes without associated cell division. There will be doubling of chromosomes, but there will be no cell division and no separation of these chromosomes, these divided chromosomes into daughter cells. That is called endoreduplication. So these chromosomes will be present in the same cell itself. That is how autopolyploidy arises. Whereas this is another tetraploid cell where you can see this chromosome having 4 copies and this also having 4 copies. But they are slightly different. There will be differences. Why this has arisen? This arises out of hybridization. So this is one species called A and this is another species called B. A is having its own diploid chromosome sets and B is having its own diploid chromosome sets, and they are allowed to undergo hybridization artificially. So they form hybrids, and suppose in these hybrids there occurs endoreduplication, then what will happen? This chromosome will have a double of itself, this chromosome will have a double of itself, this chromosome will have a double, and this chromosome will also have a double of itself. And so this cell will be having chromosomes, they are tetraploids, but the chromosomes are slightly different. One belongs to species A and the other belongs to species B. That condition is called as allopolyploidy. And the allopolyploids are organisms which receive their chromosome sets from different species, whereas autopolyploids are organisms which receive all their chromosomes from the one and same species. This arises only by endoreduplication, whereas this arises first from hybridization, thereafter followed by endoreduplication. Now, so this can be represented as, you can write this as A, okay, whereas this is AABB because this is another type of chromosome. Okay, they have been derived from different species. So that is called as allopolyploidy. So the multiplication of the entire chromosome complement is polyploidy. When all the genomes are the same, it is autopolyploidy. But when two or more different genomes from different species are getting duplicated, it is called as allopolyploidy. And it is usually allopolyploidy that forms the raw material for evolution. It contributes to variation, speciation, etc. And these allopolyploids can eventually transform into new species. So they contribute greatly to speciation, variation, etc. Segmental allopolyploidy is a condition intermediate between autopolyploidy and allopolyploidy, because in autopolyploidy the duplicated chromosomes, they are all alike, whereas in allopolyploidy they are different. But in segmental polyploidy is a type of allopolyploidy where some regions will be homologous and the other regions will not be homologous. So there will be partial homologous condition. When these chromosomes they align, there will be some regions which are homologous to each other, but there will be non-homologous regions also. Whereas in true allopolyploidy, they cannot undergo pairing because the genes are different, the chromosome segments are different, they are non-homologous. In segmental allopolyploidy, some of the regions are homologous and therefore they can undergo pairing and they can form multivalents during meiotic division. So we can say the different chromosomes are not fully different in segmental allopolyploidy. The chromosomes from different sets will be partially homologous, but they are not totally homologous. So they can undergo pairing. And it is considered to be an intermediate condition between auto and allopolyploidy. Then the reasons for polyploidy. It can arise out of fertilization of an ovum by two or more sperms. So all their chromosome complements will come together in the zygote. So that can lead to polyploidy. Or if there is fusion between unreduced gametes, suppose there is non-disjunction and there are certain gametes in which the chromosome number is the same, that means non-disjunction occurs in all of the chromosomes. So that gamete can be called as an unreduced gamete where there is no division of the parent chromosome number into half. So that is called an unreduced gamete, and if they undergo fusion, that can result in polyploidy. And in certain cases by mitosis, if somatic doubling occurs, just as I mentioned, endo-reduplication, that is chromosome doubling occurs, but there is no associated mitotic division. These are all the reasons for polyploidy. And this phenomenon can also be induced artificially by certain agents like a chemical which is called as colchicine. So colchicine will arrest the formation of mitotic spindle in cell division. So what happens? The chromosomes undergo duplication, but they are not pulled to either side to form daughter cells. So that is called artificial polyploidy, which can be induced with the help of colchicine. Now the significance is polyploidy serves as a mechanism of speciation and evolution. It provides higher number of chromosomes and therefore it will enhance the chances for recombination. It will enhance the chance for mutation. It will enhance the chance for genetic variations. Since there are higher number of chromosomes, there are more chances of variations. And this artificially produced polyploidy is very important in agriculture, horticulture, etc. In certain plants, you can introduce gigas characters, that means larger flowers, larger fruits, taller stem, higher yield, longer life, etc. when compared to their diploid counterparts. So polyploidy can be used to induce gigas characters in plants such as large flowers, fruits, etc. And you can see here, this is a polyploid strawberry, whereas this is a diploid one. And you can see this is larger. Here also, this is tetraploid, which is larger than the diploid plant. This is diploid, this is tetraploid. Here you can see a diploid flower, here you can see tetraploid flowers. This is diploidy and this is tetraploidy. So this is how polyploidy is used to introduce gigas characters in plants. You can see some polyploid plants like common wheat, which is hexaploid, 6x. Then tobacco, which is tetraploid. Then potato, which is tetraploid, banana, which is triploid. Then strawberry, you can get strawberries which are octaploid, sugar cane, which is octaploid, oats, hexaploid, peanuts, tetraploid, Coffee can be diploid, tetraploid, hexaploid. Cotton is tetraploid. Brassica is tetraploid. So these are all examples of artificially induced polyploid plant products. Another one, this is a diploid banana with seeds, and here you have a seedless banana which is polyploid, which has been produced by hybridization of two wild diploid species, that is Musa acuminata and Musa balbisiana. So this polyploid plant has been produced by hybridization of two diploid species, and that is a seedless variety. And the triploid crops examples are apple, banana, watermelon. Tetraploid crops are apple, cotton, potato, peanut. Hexaploid crops, kiwi. Examples for octaploid crops are strawberry, sugarcane, pansies, etc.